What if the Children's Crusade wasn't what we've been led to believe? The traditional narrative of this event, set in the year 1212, paints a picture that's both compelling and tragic. It tells us of thousands of children, primarily from France and Germany, who left their homes driven by religious fervor and a dream to reclaim the Holy Land. Their innocence and purity, they believed, would be their armor, their shield, and their weapon, allowing them to succeed where the adult crusaders had previously failed. The tale further introduces us to two figures said to be at the helm of this crusade. Two children, Stephen of Cloyes, a French shepherd boy, and Nicholas of Cologne, a German lad. These boys allegedly held steadfast in their belief that the Mediterranean Sea would miraculously part upon their arrival, forming a safe passage to Jerusalem. But when this miracle failed to occur, the narrative tells us that many of these children either tragically lost their lives or were sold into slavery. But the question we must ask ourselves is how much of this narrative stands up to the scrutiny of modern historians. The Children's Crusade, as it turns out, may not have been a crusade in the traditional sense of the word, lacking as it did the official endorsement of the church. Also, the term crusade itself wasn't even in use until the 13th century. Moreover, the Latin term pueri, which has been used to describe these crusaders, does not exclusively refer to children, but can also denote the poor or landless. This has led to the theory that the majority of these crusaders were not children, but were more likely impoverished adults, landless peasants, and unemployed adolescents. Even the roles of Stephen of Cloyes and Nicholas of Cologne as leaders of this crusade have been challenged. Stephen shows up in only one historical record, and information about Nicholas is scant. Could these characters have been exaggerated or even entirely made up in later accounts? The journey of these innocent children, as we've been told, ended in tragedy, but is this the whole truth? As we delve deeper into this historical event, we'll discover that the reality may be far removed from the traditional narrative. Modern historians, however, have turned the tide, questioning the authenticity of this narrative. The Children's Crusade, as we know it, may not have been a crusade in the traditional sense. Crusades were typically military endeavors officially endorsed by the church, and the term crusade didn't even enter the common lexicon until the 13th century. The Children's Crusade, on the other hand, seems to have been more of a spontaneous, popular movement, lacking any official ecclesiastical sanction. A particularly intriguing aspect of modern interpretations is the potential misinterpretation of the Latin term pueri. While it can denote children, it can also refer to the poor or landless. This has led some historians to propose a different demographic for the crusade. Instead of a throng of children, they suggest a motley crew of impoverished, landless peasants, unemployed adults, and adolescents may have constituted a significant portion of the participants. The roles of Stephen of Cloyes and Nicholas of Cologne, the supposed child leaders of the crusade, also come under scrutiny. Stephen's existence is recorded in only one historical document, while information about Nicholas is scant at best. Could these figures have been dramatically embellished, or even completely fabricated in later accounts? It's a possibility that cannot be dismissed. The tragic end of the Crusaders, too, is not universally accepted. While some participants undoubtedly met with unfortunate fates, historical records suggest that many of the Crusaders simply turned back home when the movement failed to gain the expected momentum. The exact number of those who perished or were sold into slavery remains a point of contention among historians. As the dust of the past settles, the image of the Children's Crusade begins to shift. From a horde of innocent children led to their doom by religious fervor, it morphs into a mass movement of the desperate and disenfranchised, a poignant reflection of the social and economic upheavals of the Middle Ages. So, we find ourselves at a crossroads between a heartbreaking tale and a historical reality. The traditional narrative of the Children's Crusade paints a tragic picture of innocent children, driven by religious fervor, meeting a dismal fate. However, modern interpretations challenge this account, suggesting the crusade was more likely a mass movement of the disenfranchised, led by adults and adolescents rather than children. The purported leaders, Stephen of Cloyes and Nicholas of Cologne, may have been mere figments of dramatic storytelling, their roles amplified over time. And while some crusaders may have indeed suffered tragic outcomes, many probably returned home when the movement lost momentum. This event, steeped in mystery and legend, serves as a poignant reflection of the Middle Ages, characterized by a peculiar mix of religious zeal, idealism, and desperation. The Children's Crusade, a symbol of the peculiar amalgamation of religious fervor, idealism, and desperation, continues to echo through the corridors of history.